morning, everybody, and sorry about the technical difficulty here. We're all learning in this virtual space. So I first wanted to say thank you to CYP for providing these opportunities to gather virtually to learn, listen, and grow. CYP has hosted really impactful conversations over the last 2 months. Thank you for your bold leadership to step into tough conversations together. Conversations like these are more important now than ever. So as Derek and others mentioned, my topic is wisdom. So any dutiful lawyer would first go and look up the definition of wisdom. And it reads, having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Also, the body of knowledge that develops within a specified society. So in reading that definition, I hear good judgment, I hear developing knowledge. So what can each of us do to foster good judgment and developing knowledge? What can we do right here, right now, when it's all we've got? So I'm not sure if many of you have engaged in something called a 6-word exercise. I've done one recently and I wanted to share it with you today. It'll tell you a little bit more about me and how I roll in the wisdom department. So my 6-word story is staying in the fire, burning brighter. So let me unpack that for you a little bit. What a hot summer it's been. What a summer. A global pandemic, the greatest racial unrest since the 1960s. A hot summer. Many of you may also know that I'm a yogi, a practitioner and teacher of hot vinyasa yoga. Think 90 degrees, 85% humidity with a community of yogis, generally in a studio, although it's been in my sunroom at home on Zoom since March. During these classes, teachers often ask students to consider the following. How one shows up on your mat is how you show up everywhere in your life. Again, how you show up on your mat is how you show up everywhere. So when it's hot, I'm dripping sweat, doubting my decision about coming to a hot yoga class, I can choose. I can choose to stay in the fire and grow stronger, more solid, more flexible, burn brighter. Or I can choose to sit down on myself, on my team, on my community. And the same goes for life right now. I can choose professionally and personally to stay in the fire and burn brighter, or sit down on my community and on myself. I choose staying in the fire, burning brighter. I would encourage each of you to undertake this exercise of writing your 6-word story, even if it's something you've done before. The words change as you grow and gain wisdom. You develop more knowledge and decide what you will stand for and what you will take a stand for. So you've heard a little bit just now about my passion for yoga and maybe read a little bit about another passion of mine, which is the work I do in the community for those whose voices are not heard. Working every day with Ohio Health to deliver healthcare access to those who do not have it in our community. Taking a stand for the unseen in our community. My career, in yoga, along with my husband, daughter, and our sweet little dog Cookie are my life, my legacy. And there is one other thing. You might have heard a little bit about that too, the Columbus Women's Commission. I come from a strong line of women who were each up to something bigger than themselves, each up to using good judgment to grow and learn, but also to push boundaries. So let me tell you a little bit about the Columbus Women's Commission's work. The Women's Commission's mission is rooted in advancing opportunities for women's economic security and looking at this work from both a gender and a racial lens. We're focused on gender and racial equity in the workplace, housing and evictions, health, and workforce development. In 2017, we launched the Columbus Commitment, a voluntary pledge for employers to sign and commit to learning and taking action to impact pay equity and overall equity in the workplace. I'm proud to share that over 270 local Columbus employers have signed this pledge. We're proud of all of our adopters as we take strides locally to impact equity in the workplace. Yet we are still pushing boundaries. Some of you may know that August 13th is Black Women's Equal Pay Day, or stated another way, the time into this calendar year that it takes a Black woman to earn what a white man earned last calendar year. And the date is later this year than last year. Unacceptable. This is our community's challenge and one we will confront, while admittedly not knowing all of the answers right now. Employers have an unprecedented opportunity to establish your companies as gender and racially equitable. Doing this right will have positive impacts on recruitment, retention, and engagement. I encourage you to go to the Columbus Women's Commission's website and see if your employer has signed the pledge. If not, ask your HR and leadership teams. Why not? If they have signed, ask your leadership and HR teams, what are we doing internally at this company to support equity in the workplace? What I would like to leave you with today is to think about the question, what can I do? Recent events have created a time in history where we can all make a difference toward equity and justice. What can we do individually and collectively in our community to advance equity, push boundaries? From where you are, the seat you're in professionally, roles you may have in the community, your role with your family and colleagues, right here, right now. Thank you again to CYP for hosting important conversations, and thanks to each of you for showing up today. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Shannon. Our next first inspiration chat speaker is Julie Wilkes. Born with a heart condition so severe, the doctors pronounced her dead at birth, Julie has overcome all of her life expectancy predictions and now dedicates herself to paying forward on the second chance at life by helping others to find light in their life. She is an entrepreneur, yoga/fitness studio concept owner, published author, motivational speaker, certified life coach, aromatherapy line creator, and fitness and yoga presenter. Julie has spoken and presented across the globe, including at the Tower of London, the White House, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, TED Talks, Solutions at Work Live, Health 2.0, the National Business Group on Health International Women's Day, and the U.S. Department of Defense. Please join me in welcoming our inspiration speaker for 2020, Julie Wilkes.
Thank you so much. And wow, what an incredible honor to follow these two amazingly gorgeous, beautiful, inspiring women. So what I want you guys to do before I even get going is to give it up for Congresswoman Joyce Beatty and the always wonderful and an inspiration to me, our First Lady in Columbus, Shannon Ginther. So can you guys just give your love to these two ladies who has set the stage for us today? Yes, thank you so much. All right, and DJ Dana, I think you're there, and I've tried to see if you can help me to start us off. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love for you to get up out of your seats for a minute. DJ Dana, I don't know what you have in store for us, but can you just, drop the beat a little bit? And I want you to get up and just move your bodies. We have about 10, 20 seconds. Just move and groove. So let's hit the music here. And
is it coming through?
Not yet. At least not to me.
Weird.
You'll see us all moving and grooving as soon as you do.
All right. Well, it is playing on my end. Let me try.
We'll try one more time. If not, we're gonna. All right.
How's that? Okay.
I can see you. Get up and move. Just 40 seconds. Grab your dog, grab your cat, your whole family. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, we'll cut it in 3, 2, and 1. All right. So thank you so much. I want you guys to now just say these words, yes, yes, yes. So I want you to say them out loud. I want to see your mouth moving, yes. You don't know what I'm asking you to say yes to yet, but I just want you to say yes, yes. Yes, use your hands. Yes, yes, yes. This is the ritual that I go through every morning to get amped up for the day. You see, you can't create a day of just amazing, incredible opportunities by playing it small or waiting for the world to happen. You've got to expect good things. You've got to amp up your body. You've got to change your physiology. You've got to move your body. Studies will find that when you physically move your body, you create the chemicals in your brain that expect the best out of your day. So my challenge to you, and when you say yes, yes, yes. This means that you are saying yes to whatever the possibilities are that come before you, because you all know this is not a time of what we'll call normal expectations. We have got to rise above what we know to live into a new, I'll say, atmosphere. Every day we get uncertainty, we get new information, we get difficulty. I can't even imagine how Shannon and Joyce must every day just turn on their computer and say, what are we going to hear now, right? In the roles that they play in leading us. And they stand and rise up every day to say, yes, I will take this and I will move it forward. And so my message to you today is about forward movement. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm going to see if the technology is on my side and if it will work for me. If not, I'm not going to delay or anything. I'm just going to see if the world is happy with allowing me to share my screen. Let's see how we do here. All right. Just give me a nod if you can see a little bit of a presentation here. Oh, thanks. Okay. Now let's see if I can get this to go. All right. Well, it's trying. Well, there we go. All right. So I want you to think about shifting your energies today. We cannot wait for this virus to be over, or for our amazing, brave and bold researchers to figure out the vaccine, or for, whatever it is, for the supply chain to be able to get the vaccine to the billions and billions of people that need it for us to feel safe and strong again. We have to be able to take our life by the horns right here, right now, and figure out how to be powerful in our walk. So today I want to talk with you for just a few minutes about 5 things you can do to get out of your head, to move yourself forward, to live your best life on your terms, and to not let anything get in your way. So as the introduction already said, I have overcome some things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about me today because this whole thing is about you, but I want you to know why I'm so passionate about talking to you today. I'm so passionate because when I was born, the doctor said there's no way she's going to live. They told my mom and dad that I was going to die, that I'd be born stillborn. When I was born, they pronounced me dead. 9 minutes later, my heart starts to beat on its own. And doctors say there's no way she can survive. My mom gives them back to the doctors, or gives me back to the doctors. My heart stops. The doctors give me back to my mom. My heart stops. It starts again. What they found was the common thread was that when my mother held me, my heart beat. When my mother gave me back to the doctors, my heart would stop. So I learned at a very young age that our relationships, our connections are so heartfelt. They give us our being, our purpose, our reasons, and certainly gave me reason to live on that day and to overcome. Since then, fast forward, I'm 44 years old, and I always have to ask, am I still allowed to be invited to the Columbus Young Professionals things? But I'm 44 now, and I couldn't feel better. I couldn't be healthier. I couldn't be happier. And there's some secrets I learned along the way that I want to share with you today. But life is not about waiting for things to come to you. It is not expecting that life is going to be easy, and it's not expecting that life will always be fair, but it's knowing that life can feel unfair. It's knowing that today's going to throw you a curveball, and you are primed and ready to go anyways. And so in the introduction, I know that they mentioned that I own a yoga studio. I just opened up a retail store focused on self-care at Easton. Everybody likes to give me the joke that, well, this is not exactly the perfect time to open a new business during a pandemic, but I'm going to tell you what, it is the perfect time to open a new business because people need good energy. And that's what the name of my business is. People need for people to keep believing in the dream. We can't stop now. And so I want you to know that if you've been impacted by the virus, if you've been impacted by anything in your family or your life or anything that's going on, and it's caused you to want to play small right now, or it's caused you to sit back and think, well, this stinks. I'll wait until next year to now do this. I guess next year will be the time that I get to do this. This has become a pattern you've created in your brain to sort of adjust to what this is. All of our life, all of our responses are merely patterns that we've created. When somebody has treated you poorly, you create a pattern in your brain to know that I don't want to trust that person again. When somebody has treated you well, you think about I want to be around that person again. These are all patterns the brain creates. So if your brain gives you any pattern that doesn't lift you up, doesn't elevate you, doesn't make you feel amazing, doesn't help you to move forward, these are things that we can shift. And so I want to give you 5 things that you can do starting now to shift your mindset, to take life by the horns, to live on your terms starting today, and to know that even if we are going through something really devastational, this is a time to rise up. This is a time to not play small, but to get out there and play big. You were given gifts, talents, passions in your heart and your story for a reason, and whatever that is, this is your time to step up. So first of all, when we think about our brain and the way it works, and I'm a super big, I guess say nerd when it comes to brain health. I love learning about the brain and how it functions. I'm working on my PhD in organizational psychology because I just love understanding how we behave, how we react. And one of the coolest things I understand is in our minds, the way that we respond to life, good news, bad news, anything in between, certain people, it's all this pattern that we've developed over time, and it's repetitious patterns. In fact, they say that it takes us about 84 days to create a solidified pattern in the brain. So this is about 3 months, which is why so many of those fitness infomercials you'll see have 90-day programs, because they're trying to get you to have the pattern of using them. Once you do, you're going to go back and buy more. So it's about a 90-day shift to get you to truly change the way you think about things, develop a new habit, shift the way you're moving, but it starts today. After 21 days of repetitive pattern of thoughts of responding to life in a new way, it starts to make an imprint on your brain. So at first, when you try to think about things in a new way, or you try to respond to life in a different way, it may feel uncomfortable and it may feel actually inauthentic because it's not the way you've been thinking. But after 21 days, it starts to feel more authentic. So why do I tell you this? Because if you want to rise up and shift your energies into taking more out of your life, I see so many of the names out here. I scrolled through all the names to see who I knew. And so many of you, I saw Lil Stropke, I saw Chris, I saw so many people that I know. You guys are already at the top of your game, but now's the time to take that to your next level. And this is how we do it. We set our goals, we think about the things we want, we get super clear on it, and whenever we're looking to develop new patterns in our brain for how we respond to life, how we think about life, and how we move ourselves forward, the things that we have to do are make our goals so that it's easy. They're bite-sized pieces. It's not about running a marathon tomorrow, it's about going and buying the shoes. It's not about running a marathon next week, it's about trying to walk a mile. It's not about running a marathon next month, that's about getting 3 miles in. It's about finding that cumulative addition of changing the way you think, changing the way you act, changing the way you behave to add up over time to take you to that next level. So it's got to be easy, it's got to be bite-sized. You also have to remember your why. Your why is the most important thing. If you don't have a why, you will always give up, you will always fail, because life will get hard, life will make you question it, life will push back on you. And if you don't have a strong why, you will give up. So when you want something, you have to find that motivation, that why. And lastly, because this is something new that we're trying to create in our brains, we're trying to respond to life in different ways, see the world in different ways, look for possibilities versus our limitations, we have to have a trigger. And what that simply means is a call to action every day that reminds ourselves that we've said that this is what's important to us as we move ourselves forward. If you leave it up to chance, if you leave it up to, I hope that I feel this way tomorrow, I hope that I stay motivated, I hope, it won't happen. You have to have something that triggers you every day, whether you put a Post-it on your laptop, whether you put your walking shoes by the door to remind you to go take that walk, whatever it is that you want to do to transform your life, to get more out of it right now, you have to make it easy, you have to remember your why, and you have to have that call to action. So with that being said, here's the 5 things I want to talk to you about. Number 1, when we think about anything that we want, anything really great that we want is not going to come easy. My dad has this saying, it's always going to cost twice as much and take 3 times as long. And I'm sad to say that has been proven to me over and over again to be true, as much as I don't want to admit it. You have to be relentless in the pursuit of your dreams. You have to know that the closer you get to your dreams, more people will try to get in your way, the more obstacles you will face. And these are just little hurdles along the way that will ask you, do you believe in it enough? So if you are feeling like right now, like you've had a failure, or that you have some naysayers, or you even have some haters who are pushing back on you, or why would this happen for you? You must be relentless in your vision. I can tell you so many times that I've really had to question in the dreams that I've had and the things that I wanted to do, should I keep going? I've had some difficulties with various things within business partners or business experiences where I've gone from thinking I was at the top of my game to the bottom of my game overnight. And I've had to ask myself, do I still want to play the game anymore? Do I still want to be in this? And you have to come back to that motivation and be relentless with my why is my biggest reason. My why for me is because I want to create something that allows people to take care of themselves, get inspired, and know that they're valuable and worthy every single day. And you've got to be able to say your why just as articulate, just as quick every single time. Number 2, so be relentless. You can't give up. And know that when people are pushing back, when it feels like you get hiccups and hurdles along the way, those should be compliments to you that you're on the right track. Number 2, unwavering clarity. Any coach out there like Brendan Burchard, if you've ever read any of his stuff, Tony Robbins, Stephen Covey, all of these thought leaders out there and will tell you that one of the number 1 traits you must have to be relentless and to be successful in the pursuit of your dreams is absolute clarity on what you want. So I want you to grab your phones. I know most often speakers don't ask people to get their phones out. I'm asking you to get your phone out. And what I want for you to do is think about 3 words that represent who you are and how you want to show up in your life. Because here's the thing. You may not be able to predict what's going to happen today or this week or even next week. You can have the best laid plans for an awesome week ahead, and you can get that phone call today at 3 p.m. that hits you broadside that you had no idea it was coming, and it can pull you out of what you thought was a great flow of energy. The thing is, it's not about always winning. It's not about getting the job every time. It's not about always getting the promotion. It's not about always whatever. It's not about always succeeding. But what it is always showing up authentic to yourself. And so what I want to do really quickly is just ask you to take your phone. When you've got your 3 words of how you want to show up, you put them in your phone as a reminder every day at 3 p.m. This will inspire you to check in with yourself and say, am I behaving in that way? For me, it's courage, vibrancy, and service. And so even if I didn't win the game today, even if I didn't get what I was hoping for out of that meeting, if I showed up authentically, I can be proud of who I am. So I want you to do that. Last 3 things quickly here. So I want you to have an absolute focus on what you do. The world is full of distractions. In fact, they say 47% of the time we are getting distracted by our phones, by our computers, by everything else in the world. Ever notice when you go out to the restaurants and you're having a dinner with somebody you really like, you can't help but notice who walks in the door? We're just distracted. Have absolute focus, clarity, focus, and absolute relentlessness on what you want. Train your brain through meditation, mindfulness, breathing activities. Train the brain like a muscle to be focused in your life. And from here, I move on to our final 2, which are keep your body, your physiology relaxed and open. I had you get up and stand and move and dance, and I appreciate those of you who did that because what I was trying to do is elevate your energy. If you sit all day long, your energy cannot shift. Physiologically, scientists will tell us that in order for you to change the way you're thinking, if you get stuck in a rut, if you get angry, if you get frustrated, the only way that energy will shift is if you can change your physical state. So make sure you show up relaxed, open, and strong. Breathe before you enter a meeting. Do whatever you can do to take good care of yourself so that you show up expecting the best out of others and yourself. Lastly, a little Piper dog here. The world is a tough place. I used to give talks about the world will treat you well and it's fair and good and just show up being fair and good and it will give it back to you. But I'm going to tell you that's not always true. There are things that happen that we can't explain. We can't explain why something really hard happened to somebody really good. And it happens. But maybe the lesson isn't about why did something bad happen, but maybe the lesson is in that person going to people and asking for help. Maybe the lesson is in seeing that person see how strong they are or reminding themselves what's important. Or maybe the lesson is clearing out the clutter, getting rid of all of the busyness and complexities and getting back to simple. And so I share this final story with you. A few years ago, saw this dog posted. My vet, Dr. Kimberly West at Health and Harmony in Grandview, posted this picture of this really unusual looking dog. No teeth, broken ear, 1 eye, deaf, blind, couldn't walk. She looked like just really an unusual looking dog. And she said nobody wanted to adopt her because she had so many things wrong with her. This dog a bucket list because the dog had such a horrible life. Well, I ended up saying, I will take the dog. And I was kind of like, who is this talking? Because I don't I already have dogs. I don't need any more dogs. I'm a single woman. I don't need any more dogs. And I heard myself saying, I will take the dog, but I will only take the dog if the dog is not violent. Because you see, nobody would blame this dog who had been beaten, neglected, abused, starved for being violent or aggressive or antisocial or any of those things after 9 years of living that way. I brought her into my house, and you know what she was? She was not only not violent or aggressive, but she was the most grateful, happy dog, happier than any of my other dogs. Every day she just did a little dance, even though she couldn't hardly walk. And every day she just looked up at me and shook her head and smiled as if she was just to say thank you. So I want to leave you with this. Life will sometimes be unfair. Things that you didn't expect to happen are going to happen. And it's not about just hoping and coasting that life is going to be this easy stream, but it's about arming yourself with your tools, with your heart, with your knowledge, with your wisdom, and with your passion and your energy to keep moving yourself forward anyways. But the things that really get in our way are the times that we hold on to anger or hate or frustration, or we see somebody got the job and I deserved it better, or somebody got that and I should. When we start thinking like that, that's what gets in our way. So I want you to be like a Piper. We just recently lost Piper, and she's just the best girl. So I really want to share her story. She had 4 good years with us, and so we're so grateful for her. But she reminded me every day is a new day to forgive, to soften your heart, and to love the world. And even if yesterday was a tough day for you, even if it caused you to feel anger or frustration, today is a new day, and let's love it. Let's choose to be happy on purpose. So I want you to pick one thing, not just from my talk today, but from anything you hear today. We call this your smallest big. I want you to pick the smallest thing you can do to make the biggest impact in your life. So I want you to listen to all the speakers, and the one that resonates with you the most, and you heard something that you thought, I can do that starting today. I want you to pick that for yourself to go follow. The purpose of our life is to find your gift, and the meaning of life is to give it away. So thank you for letting me be a part of your day today. It's an awesome lineup. Thanks to Derek and the whole CYP Club for allowing me to share some inspiration with you today. So go rock out your day. And I am so grateful for you and for your energy. And I know that there's amazing things, amazing energy being put into the world today by you. So expect good things to return. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you so much, Julie. This is awesome. I'm so excited. I enjoyed getting up and dancing, and we're going to have a chance to get up here in a few minutes. But first, we're going to take the next 20 minutes or so to bring Shannon and Julie back for a special Q&A session. So this is going to be an opportunity for you to ask them a few of your questions about their stories, their passions, anything that's coming off the top of your mind. I've got a handful of questions here with me that I'm going to ask each of them as well. But if you have a question for Shannon and or for Julie, please use your Zoom chat function and send it to me or another member of our host committee, and we will do our best to ask it during the session. Thank you, and let's go ahead and get started. So I think Shannon and Julie are both unmuted right now, so we're ready to go. I personally want to ask you guys, this is a question I think as females, we never ask ourselves this question. We always say, you know, what do you hate about yourself? What do you wish you could change? I would love to know from both of you, what do you love about yourself? What do you just like, this is me, this makes me awesome every morning? Tell me a little bit about that.
Julie, you first.
Thanks. You know, this was one that a few years ago would have been hard for me. I used to have a really hard time loving myself. It was easy for me to project love onto other people. But what I really found is to be authentic in my talk, I had to fall in love with myself first. And all of the quirkiness, all of the, you know, things that made me sometimes in my earlier days wish it wasn't so, they're what really made me come alive. So I think for me, you know, when I go to bed at night and I think about what I'm most grateful for, the thing that comes up the most often for me is that I'm just so grateful that I was blessed with the ability to keep seeing possibilities, and that my mind doesn't go to the negative right away. It really just looks for that next best thing. So that's probably my, the thing that, you know, I love the most about myself.
So that's a good one, Julie. And I wish I was as far along as you are. I'm still, I would say, working on loving myself, because it's a journey, right? And I think back to like Julie, I'm in my 40s now, and I think back to my 20s and my teens. And we do focus a lot of energy on the negative. And so really looking at even, you know, if yesterday was negative, turning that positive, or always looking for the positive, to fall in love with yourself. But what I want to say is, and I guess it's okay that maybe if you're not there yet, just keep working on it, and whatever that means to you. You know, for me, it's about, if I had to pick one thing, it's my, I would say, resiliency in terms of continuing on a difficult path. But it's not always easy, and I don't always love myself while I'm doing it. And so you have to recognize that it's not all or nothing. It's not a destination, it's a journey.
Yeah, thank you. Super powerful. I also think right now in this tumultuous world that we're living in, we've got this time that we've never had before. I know we've all probably seen the memes. Remember when I said I would fold all my laundry if I had extra time, and my laundry's still not folded even though we're in quarantine. But what is one thing that both of you wish that you had more time to spend? And what would you be doing if you could spend more time on one specific area?
Shannon, do you want to go first?
Yeah, that's a good question. You should have given us these ahead of time, Kim, so we could have thought about them. One thing to spend more time on, I've actually had, quarantine has been a little bit of a gift for my family, because believe it or not, the mayor has been home more. And so we've actually gotten to spend a lot of good time as a family, because, well, there wasn't a lot of choice for a couple of months to do anything but spend time together. And that's, there's a gift in that for sure. And it's, you know, my husband's been in an elected life now for north of 20 years, the entire time we've been married. And so it was really a great opportunity for us to just get to reconnect together as a family. So that's what I hope to continue. You know, we're not going back to normal life anytime soon. So there are plenty of Zoom calls and plenty of running around, but there's also a lot of opportunity to stop and be together, and choosing to do that with intention, instead of, you know, being frustrated that I can't go do whatever thing I want to do with my friends, or but really kind of turning inward and focusing on my family.
Yes, I love all that, Shannon, and it does make me happy to hear the mayor is that being able to be at home a little bit more. You think about just the relentless pace that the both of you have to keep just to run our city. So thank you. For me, in time, one of the things I've been really focused on lately is I've tried to hold myself accountable to limiting beliefs that no longer serve me. Mm-hmm. And those are, you know, things that maybe we've somehow made our truths that aren't really truths, and sort of get in our way of our own power. And so one of the things that I had for a while is, because I've been a life coach for a long time, and sort of a mentor and a business coach for a lot of people, I had this concept that, you know, I was so busy helping others that I had already put in my time with my studying and with my coursework and so forth. And I was just really busy helping others. And I ended up recently cutting back on my client list of openings. And I've started to enroll myself in more things where I've gotten myself a coach. I'm taking courses every month around different business mastery, life mastery, different things, master classes. You know, I've reached out to different people that I admire. Sarah Blakely from Spanx, I admire her so much, and I've been able to connect with her in such a way where, you know, I'm taking master classes from her. And so I'm just trying to find people that I admire what they've done, and I'm trying to take more time working on me and developing me. And so that's been really fun. But if I had more time, I think I would just continue to do that. And I'm trying to create that space in my life to do that. So, yeah.
I think, Kim, if I could just kind of chime in to something you said earlier, you know, that your laundry still isn't folded, even though we're in the middle of quarantine. And I would challenge everybody on the call today to think about what it is. You actually do have the time right now for anything that is important. Make it a priority and make it happen. There's lots of you know, excuses that I could come up with about this thing or that thing that's not done. Now, maybe, Kim, to you, laundry isn't a priority, which is what it sounds like, and that is fine. But for whatever the things are that are priorities, you don't have to do everything with the same gusto. But if there are a couple of things in your life that are priorities, make them a priority. You know, like Julie was saying, write them down, hold yourself accountable to making the time for what's important. I went through this exercise recently where I deleted the Columbus Dispatch and Facebook off of my phone for lots of different reasons. And the mind space that it has given me when I'm not constantly tied to my phone, I actually have a little bit of space to think about what else I want to be up to and what my priorities are for the day or the week or the, you know, longer term goals. Make that a priority. Facebook will be there, Instagram, Twitter, you know, TikTok, whatever it is, that will all be there. But all you have is right now to decide what you want to be up to and be up to it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I'm going to keep going with my questions unless anyone else wants to chime in with questions, but this is great that I can just fire at you guys. So thank you. So my next question for both of you, what is your number one goal in the next 6 months? Kind of going off of what we were just talking about, you know, I've got time to make. I think Julie does set great ideas. I did just put in my phone the alarm for 3 o'clock on how I want to show up. I think that's a wonderful tactic as well. So I'm happy to hear kind of what your goals are and share maybe some goals from the audience if anyone else has any questions or anything else.
You want to start, Julie?
Sure. Well, so with this pandemic, I own a couple of different businesses and we've had to pivot. I think that's a word I hear used all the time now. We've had to pivot. And so when the words first came out that, you know, we were going to be shutting down fitness centers, I moved us online immediately and shifted us. And we kind of thought this was a temporary solution, you know, that we'd eventually be back in. But what I really have found is the thing that's really important to me as a business owner is that I listen to my demographic. I listen to my people. I listen to the people who are following us and love us and support us. And so my demographic, my base, I own 7 studios, my 7 family has told me, we love the virtual. We don't want to go back into a small space and work out. We love your virtual. So my goal has been, now that they've spoken, I've decided, instead of making plans for us to try to push to get people back in and squeeze within the 6-foot distance to, you know, I know there's a lot of wonderful studios out there that have figured that part out. We've decided that we're just going to be the best darn virtual fitness platform that we can be. And we are we are creating a production studio actually in our downtown studio so that we're shooting high quality, high def videos for our members. So in the next 6 months, our goal is, you know, I would have said it was to bring everybody back into the studio and create that in-person community again. But listening to my members, it's now, we want to be the best virtual platform we can be. We want to have the most classes, the most interactions. We want to start bringing nutrition in. We want to so we want to really take it and shift in a way that I never thought we would, but to meet people where they want to be met. Second, I just opened a store at Easton called Good Energy. We're a self-care company. We, like, this shirt is one of our shirts, Choose Happy. There's a story behind the shirt, but it's our line. And we create a whole bunch of self-care products made out of essential oils and other things. And so what I want to do is, again, we know that people aren't comfortable really going out and about so much. And if you're comfortable, I want to keep bringing people in, but I also want to find a way to meet people all around the world with our products and reach them and give them good energy. And so we're going to continue to find that way. So my thought is that we're just going to keep shifting and working with people and not get frustrated by if business seems slower or this or that, but just continue to ask, what can we do to keep being there for our people in ways that are relevant and meaningful?
So mine's a little different. Julie, I always feel like a slacker when I'm next to you and all the things you're doing, which are just amazing for people. Fun fact, most of you probably don't know this, but Julie Wilkes actually inspired me to get into yoga. She was one of my first, I would call her really my first yoga teacher, anything I stuck with. So we go back a long way. And you're always inspiring. Mine are a little different. So some of you may know we have a 10-year-old daughter at home, and if you think the pandemic has had an impact on your own health, both physical, behavioral, everything. It's the same for kids. So one of my big goals over the next year is or next 6 months is to kind of keep all of the plates spinning. So I have a full-time day job at Ohio Health, Senior Director of Community Health Partnerships, obviously chair of the Columbus Women's Commission, other First Lady activities. And then, my most important role is that of a mom. And so I really need to be there to support her. School is going to look very different. Right now we're slated to start back to school in person. That may change. That will kind of wax and wane over the year. And so, and then, not to mention everything that's happening in the city with racial unrest, with COVID, obviously, again, spiking, which we'll continue to see over the next year. So a lot of what I'm going to be focused on is just making sure that we're all staying as healthy and connected as a family and as a community as we possibly can. That sounds maybe in some ways very big and maybe not as achievable as maybe folks would like it to be. But for me, that's really what I have to be up to the next year, which is, focusing on myself and my daughter and my family and this community, and what we can do right now to help people make it through this.
Thanks. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think to your point, Shannon, big lofty goals. I think it's wonderful that we have the ability and the mindset to dream those big lofty goals too. And I mean, who's to tell you that goal is too large to achieve? I think that is great. We do have a question from Lindsay. She said, Shannon just said, my most important role is as a mom. I am a mom and I don't disagree, but why don't we hear men say that?
Oh, good question. I do hear men say that, not as commonly as women. I would suggest that I birthed my daughter, so I would suggest that part of that is just the very fact that you grow these children inside of you. You are deeply connected to them in a way that you are connected to no other human on this planet. So from my perspective, that's why I say that. I can't speak for all men in terms of why they don't, and maybe they feel that way and they don't say it. I think there's a whole bunch we could get into around cultural norms, around the expectation of men versus women. But what I choose to see is that I choose that label, and other people can choose it too. And I can't really necessarily spend energy where people choose not to say that, but that's who I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be up to for my family. So, maybe that's not a all-encompassing answer, but I think that really is, you just have to choose who you're going to be, and the rest, there are always going to be people who aren't the way you maybe would like them to be, and you have to kind of decide if you're going to put your energy there or not.
I think that's a great answer. We've got another question as well here that is pretty similar. So this is Shannon and Julie. Recently, I've read a business article about men versus women job applicants. Men will apply to jobs even if they only meet 75% of the job requirement qualification, while women are less likely to do so unless they are 90 to 100% meeting the qualification. Why do you think women have so much self-doubt, and what can we do to help them overcome that self-doubt? Excuse me.
Julie, I can start.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You want me to start and then I'll chime in. You can chime in. Yes, I've seen that statistic too. And the best thing I can say is what we can do is keep talking to each other and keep lifting each other up, to encouraging, hey, you have 7 of the qualifications, apply. What's the worst that can happen? You don't hear back. Stop telling your stories about how you're not qualified. You're qualified. But I think oftentimes we have to be each other's biggest supporters. Other people aren't going to do that for us. We have to do that for each other and for ourselves. And so, really getting responsible for what you want to be up to in your life. And if you see a job or an opportunity that gets you toward that goal and you're most of the way qualified, get in there, jump in there, and see what happens. And if you need a little bit of inspiration from somebody, call up your mom, call up somebody who inspires you and will push you over the finish line to do it.
Yeah, no, right on, Shannon. I would just say, to complement your words, studies, there's lots of studies out there that have tried to figure out why is this phenomenon. What they find is that, and I never, love to generalize people by gender, because I know people play a lot of different roles and mindsets. But, they, in general, to speak to this question, men have sort of shown up and said, I'll take it and I'll figure it out, right? Women show up saying, I want to be the expert, and then I'll say yes, right? And so there's that difference in mindset. And so I think it is us growing to the point where we can say, and I struggled with this for the longest time. The first book I wrote, it took me 10 times longer to get it out than it should have, because it was never good enough. Like, we had that's a limiting belief. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And I think we are so hard on ourselves to have perfection. And so for me, one of the things I learned is I had to set a date for my book, and then just send it to the publishers at that point, even if I didn't think it was perfect. And I think we have to show up in our lives in that way is, we'll learn, we'll grow, we'll push. We don't have to be the experts from the start. If we're passionate about it, if it's in our heart, we get an opportunity. I think Richard Branson has a quote, like, if you get the opportunity, but you don't know how to do it, say yes, and then you'll figure it out. Learning to adapt, and it makes us uncomfortable, and we don't like to be uncomfortable, but to just cherish that opportunity to grow and find new possibility.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I'm totally throwing a curveball here, but I do think, like, look left and right on who's on the screen with you right now. We are all women that are looking to be inspired, inspire others. And I think, we kind of all have that mission to help. So I know that there are LinkedIn posts out there of people's profiles. I know I personally am happy to, give you a rah-rah-ree. I was a college cheerleader. I'll support you if you've got a job you want to apply for. So happy to support and encourage in any way. So one final question before we wrap this up. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. I just want to ask, what words of wisdom do you guys want to leave? Final words. I know you've left a ton already, but kind of one sentence final wrap up for the attendees today.
Mine is, where your mind goes, your energy flows. And think about how that impacts all aspects of your life.
I love that.
And I'll tag team on Shannon's. Boy, Shannon, we make a good team. We should do this more often. I'm going to tag team on Shannon. And by the way, Shannon and I have gotten the chance to teach in many different capacities together. One of them is we've worked with the incarcerated, and it's one of my favorite opportunities that we've done together. And I just wanted to tell you guys that, I know you're getting the chance to see and hear Shannon here, and hopefully you've seen her talk and other things. But the thing that I get so inspired about her, she's just so much the real deal. She's so authentic, and, she's got a big plate. She's filled her cup full, and, but she shows up every time in very authentic ways. So it's just a privilege to have been a part of this with her and you. I feel like I really find that whatever you think about, you have more of. So if you think about what you don't have, you have more of it. If you think about what you do have, you have more of that. So I think it's about training your brain to continue to focus on the good in your life, and you'll start to see more and more of that flow. And so I think that would be kind of the words of wisdom I would share. And Kim, I don't know if it's okay. I wanted to share two final things, if that's okay, before it's a wrap.
Yeah.
The first thing is, and I don't know if our Congresswoman is still on or not. I do see her beautiful photo. I did have to share this. I have the privilege to get quite a different awards from time to time, and most often I don't put them out on display, but there's one that I've kept on display. I'm sorry, my lighting is so odd at this moment. This is the only one I keep out every day by my desk, and this was something that she signed a few years ago, and it was just an award that I won in the work of wellness. And it was so meaningful to me that she signed it. And so whenever I listen to her, and I think that it's amazing that we can connect, and I just wanted to thank her for all of her leadership. But things like that are so meaningful for us, that people stop and acknowledge us and recognize us. So I challenge you all to go today, step up and recognize somebody who's been something for you or done something for you. You just never know the impact you may have on them. The second thing I want to tell people is, I would love to gift you guys all a free week of virtual classes. So if you've been looking for something to do, we have anywhere from 30-minute to an hour classes. We have 40 a week. And we have amazing instructors. All you have to go is out to livethesevenlife.com. If you find our schedule, you sign up for something the first week, it's already listed. You don't have to have a promo code, but I'd love to gift you guys that as an opportunity for you to have something that allows you to take good care of yourself. I think the starting point of any positive mindset is that you remind yourself how worthy you are to feel strong and good every day.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. That is an awesome gift, Julie. And I just can't thank you both enough for your time this morning to spend with us. And hopefully we can all go about dancing about our days and making everyone else's day better.